AOC. What? She's kind of fun in a silly but earnest, wrong but adorable way. She's like your daughter when she comes back from her first year at Brown, full of half-baked, half opinions, in need of some gentle, patient deprogramming. But people have to realize new faces doesn't mean new ideas. Drives me crazy. AOC has never introduced a fresh idea or issue.
Greg Gutfeld didn't just step onto the political stage. He stormed in like a firestorm with a flamethrower blazing. And caught right in the heat, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the self-styled queen of Twitter roasts and viral sound bites. But here's the twist. This time, she's not dishing out the burns. She's taking the loss. What did Gutfeld expose that left everyone stunned, headlines blazing, and social media in chaos? This isn't your typical political showdown. It's a fiery clash of comedy, controversy, and career-shaking truth bombs all rolled into one explosive spectacle.
Nothing consistent with the Republican Party's continued attack except for the racism and incitement of violence against women of color in this. The Republican caucus threatened my life, and you all and the Republican caucus rewarded him with one of the most prestigious committee assignments in this Congress. Don't tell me this is about consistency. Don't tell me that this is about a condemnation.
If this showdown has you hooked, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It's more important than you think. What Greg Gutfeld is doing with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez isn't just political commentary, it's a comedy act disguised as breaking news. Every punchline and every jab lands with the sharp timing of a late-night pro owning the stage. And let's be honest, if you've ever watched AOC in action, you know she loves playing Congress's superhero. Cape optional, Instagram filter guaranteed. Gutfeld's roast doesn't just burn. It shines, turning her flair for drama into a full-blown spectacle that keeps viewers hanging on every moment.
Just in a used bookstore. I mean, she may look fresh, but she's as stale as an abandoned futon on the street. It's like, I listen to her, I go, I heard that at Berkeley in 1983. So their problem is, and the reason why they don't have any ideas is they operate on half opinions. Like, what if we get rid of cash bail? Oh, let's do it. What happens? You have repeat criminals wreaking havoc. What if we have sanctuary cities? Hey, let's do it. What happens? You have rapists and killers, finding sanctuary, safe haven.
Save the planet, end poverty, cure inequality, and teach your cat yoga, all before brunch. That's the kind of boundless energy AOC pours into her speeches, stacking promises like she's running a fantasy marketplace. But then Greg Gutfeld steps in, takes one look at her sky-high proclamations, and smirks. To him, this isn't serious policy. It's open MIC night gone off the rails. And here's the punchline. He doesn't just watch from the sidelines. He jumps in with the ultimate MIC drop, exposing how her sweeping visions sound less like solid legislation and more like a late-night improved act spinning out of control.
Explains it. They're not meant for you, right? But then you have to ask, okay, then what is this debt forgiveness? Who is it meant for? And when you look at the data, it's upper, white, middle-class, liberal women. This ain't welfare, right? These are well-to-do people. It's a bribe for Democrats on the backs of plumbers, truckers, and everyone else who actually does a real job, unlike me. AOC is the symbol of the entitled sponge. She complains about student loans.
The funniest part? How hilariously predictable it all is. AOC bursts onto the scene, proclaiming herself the fearless voice of the people, championing rooftop gardens, free everything, and revolutions on demand. Then Greg Gutfeld shows up, not armed with charts or policy briefs, but with the sharp sarcasm of that uncle at Thanksgiving who never lets an overblown idea go unroasted. His timing is brutal, his wit razor sharp, and in seconds, her grand crusade morphs into a full-blown comedy sketch begging for laughter.
What their ideas incentivize, that would be nice. So where are their ideas going to come from? Trump. The only way they're going to create a message is based on whatever Trump does. So I have some slogans for the Democrat Party.
Oh, wow.
The Democrat Party, when you're tired of success.
Okay.
The Democrat Party, make America suck again. Democrat Party, the first choice for illegal.
Greg doesn't waste a second drowning her in charts or burying her under piles of statistics, not his style. Instead, he grabs AOC's flashy presentations, spins them like pizza dough, and hurls them straight into the furnace of comedy. Suddenly, her billion-dollar dreams don't sound like bold reforms anymore, they sound like a teenager maxing out a credit card at Sephora. But here's where it really stings. It's not just humor, it's exposure. Greg pulls back the curtain and points out the contradictions she'd rather keep hidden. Railing against capitalism while sipping expensive kombucha, flaunting $200 hoodies, and live streaming like a full-time influencer. He doesn't just roast her policies, he skewers her persona. Her biggest wins aren't in Congress but on TikTok and Instagram, where her real office is lit by ring lights and fueled by a cheering comment section that feels more like Coachella than Capitol Hill. And when Greg calls that out, it burns, because deep down, it's what people have been thinking all along. Maybe AOC isn't a lawmaker first. Maybe she's an influencer who just happens to have a seat in Congress.
About French bulldogs. And one thing I know,
I got a French bulldog.
They are so expensive. They're
my
more
own for free.
expensive than any college tuition. That you got to take care of them. They're adorable dogs, but she owns a Tesla and she owns a French bulldog, and she wants you or your dad, the electrician, to forgive her student loan. That's BS. Turn in the Tesla, sell the dog. I'll buy it.
And then come the receipts. Oh, Greg's got them. And he unleashes them without an ounce of mercy. He sets his sights on AOC's crown jewel, the Green New Deal, exposing it not as a detailed policy blueprint but as a glitter-dusted wish list that reads like a teenager's vision board. Free health care, free college, guaranteed jobs, maybe even free puppies if there's room in the budget. It all sounds magical until someone dares to ask, who's paying for this? AOC gestures toward billionaires like it's an all-you-can-eat buffet, while Greg, smirking, reminds her that math is still a real thing. Suddenly, her utopia starts to wobble, less shining paradise, more like your broke cousin's Venmo request. Heartfelt, idealistic, but painfully unrealistic. The slogans sparkle, but the structure shakes like an IKEA bookshelf missing half the screws. The fallout? Comedy gold. Conservatives clutch Greg's punchlines like gospel, quoting his jabs as if they're common-sense scripture, while progressives scramble to defend her as though she's the last line between civilization and chaos, insisting Greg's just being mean.
He has taken a break from doing nothing to get into a beef with the Twitter chief. On Tuesday, she tweeted, LMAO at a billionaire earnestly trying to sell people on the idea that free speech is actually an $8 a month subscription plan. That's a reference to Musk's plan to charge people $8 a month for verified blue checkmark status. But he hit back tweeting, your feedback is appreciated, now pay $8.
And caught right in the middle of this political circus? Everyday people, laughing non-stop. Because let's be honest, watching Greg Gutfeld spar with AOC is funnier than half the comedies on Netflix. But beneath the punchlines lies something sharper, a truth that cuts deep. Comedy has always been one of the most dangerous weapons in politics, and Greg wields it like a scalpel, slicing clean through her polished slogans and social media shine. He exposes how AOC's ideas dazzle on Twitter but crumble when they hit the real world of legislation. That's what really stings. It's not cruelty, it's precision. Greg says out loud what many quietly wonder. Is this Congress, or just a TikTok house? And the timing couldn't be more perfect. In today's world, politics is entertainment. AOC plays the influencer, growing her brand with hashtags and live streams, while Gutfeld plays the merciless critic, turning the whole act into a savage roast. And like every brutal roast, the laughter masks an uncomfortable truth. Maybe her real power comes less from policy and more from performance.
But she already bought a Tesla. He also tweeted a photo of some ugly AOC merch she's trying to hawk for $58. Overpriced merch, AOC. Seems pretty capitalistic of you, which according to you makes you evil. And according to anyone...
When Greg mocks her economic math, it's more than a punchline. It's a spotlight on how wildly unrealistic some of her grand ideas really are. When he laughs at her working-class hero image, he's calling out the obvious gap between her fiery rhetoric and her polished reality. And when he skewers her Instagram activism, he's not just teasing. He's exposing how modern politics has morphed into performance art instead of genuine problem-solving. The aftermath is always the same. AOC, never one to back down, fires off fiery Twitter clapbacks that only keep the feud alive. Sometimes she doubles down, sometimes she pivots to moral outrage. But either way, she ends up pouring gasoline on Greg's fire. The cycle repeats endlessly. She speaks, he mocks, she reacts, and he mocks again. It's political ping-pong that the public can't stop watching. But beneath the laughs, Greg hammers home a point that's hard to ignore. Politics isn't about hashtags or viral slogans. It's about what actually works. And if you can't explain how to pay for your utopia, Maybe it's not a paradise at all. Maybe it's just another viral tweet pretending to be policy.
First of all, I mean, $80 per theater. I mean, I made $80 in a theater, and there wasn't even a movie playing.
Wow. What do you mean?
I don't know. You know, it's no surprise. Who would go see a movie that's the opposite of entertaining? There's nothing entertaining about that. Michael Moore's colonoscopy is more entertaining than that because there's probably more twists. But it does show you how great it is to be a progressive in a liberal biased culture. She really doesn't do her job, right? She makes movies, she goes to galas, she sits for glossy butt-kissing interviews in GQ and other women's mag.
That's why Greg's takedowns hit so hard. They are not just funny. They slice straight through the noise with surgical precision. His punchlines cut past the emotional speeches and Instagram theatrics, revealing the cracks in AOC's carefully crafted image. And people can't get enough, because deep down, most are exhausted from being sold polished fantasies with no proof to back them up. Greg serves the reality check, only wrapped in laughter sharp enough to make it impossible to ignore. By the time the dust settles, AOC's brand might still gleam. After all, she feeds on attention, whether it's praise or outrage. But once the illusion slips, it can't be unseen. And maybe that's the real reveal. It's not about one joke or a single jab, it's about methodically pulling back the curtain. Gutfeld tears away the glossy magazine cover version of AOC and exposes the unfiltered reality beneath. And when it becomes clear her influence stems more from performance than from policy, the whole act suddenly feels a lot less powerful, equal parts hilarious and unsettling.
You're
Right,
you're being mean.
But I'm fascinated they
My
thought
case,
there
it's
was an
true.
audience for this outside of like Earth Justice or the Justice Democrats, because who really wanted to go and see this thing? And then tomorrow you'll have an article that we'll have to talk about, which is that kids all over America are having nightmares about climate change. Well, no wonder.
Jessica, what about the fact that the climate activists are very much, they're very much enthused about what they do.
And just when you think the storm has passed, boom, AOC pops up on 6 Minutes, and suddenly it's round 2, Greg versus AOC. You can already feel the chaos brewing, because politics isn't slowing down, and neither are the punchlines. Let's be real, this isn't a one-off clash. It's a never-ending sitcom. Every time she posts, speaks, or even breathes too loudly in Congress, Greg is right there, pen in hand, ready to turn it into the joke of the night. This isn't traditional politics anymore, it's improved comedy on the taxpayer's dime. She casts herself as Rosie the Riveter 2.0, fists raised to topple billionaires and save the working class. But Greg's takedowns make it simultaneously hilarious and painfully absurd, like realizing your gym membership has been draining your bank account for years, and you've never even stepped inside. Then there's her climate warrior act. She frames climate change as a Marvel supervillain threatening Earth unless she gets an Avengers-sized budget to stop it. In her world, the Green New Deal is the Infinity Gauntlet. Snap her fingers, and suddenly planes run on good vibes, carbon emissions vanish, and every home gets a glamorous HGTV makeover.
C was on 60 Minutes last night. Quite a feat for a newcomer. Must be all her great new ideas.
People are going to have to start paying their fair share in taxes. Once you get to like the tippy tops, on your $10 millionth dollar, sometimes you see tax rates as high as 60 or 70%.
What an expression. Now, the real story isn't AOC's very old ideas. It's the media's gushy view of her. Even with her old ideas, she gets on 60 Minutes. The past is called the...
Greg Gutfeld, of course, isn't buying the fantasy. He looks at her sweeping vision and deadpans. Nice dream. But who's footing the bill? Suddenly, her grand plans sound less like legislation and more like a Kickstarter campaign with stretch goals like ending poverty and handing out free unicorns. The genius of Greg's approach is that he never debates like a policy wonk, he roasts like a comedian. Instead of droning on about flawed math, he cracks that her numbers look like they were scribbled on a cocktail napkin after a few margaritas. Instead of pointing out structural flaws, he jokes her proposals have as much stability as a toddler's drawing of a house. That's why his takedowns go viral. They stick in your head like a joke you can't stop repeating. While AOC's fans swoon and defend her, Greg keeps laughing, turning her serious policy into pure comedy fuel. It's like showing up to a water balloon fight while the other guy brings a flamethrower, passion versus fire. And the funniest part? Watching the media scramble. Progressive outlets rush to defend her, calling Greg dismissive or unfair, as if that could stop the laughter from spreading.
From last week, the media created a fake story that conservatives attacked her over this delightful trifle. Not really. In fact, the only stories written about the dance were by liberals using it to falsely smear the right. So the press creates a shield around her in which any criticism must be due to sexism or bigotry, when in fact it's in their heads and not ours. But this strategy works by preventing real criticism about her actual beliefs, which are retreads of horrible ideas from previous centuries. Socialism with a smile, fascism among friends, Venezuela.
Meanwhile, conservative outlets can't get enough. They blast Greg's punchlines across every platform, practically turning them into bumper stickers and rallying cries. And the rest of us? We're sitting back with popcorn, watching what feels like the strangest buddy comedy ever made. One side plays the activist influencer, the other the sarcastic late-night uncle who never runs out of material. Together, they've created a spectacle more entertaining than half of what Netflix churns out. But beneath the laughter lurks a deeper question. What does this mean for politics? On one side, AOC thrives on attention. Cheers, memes, viral moments, each one cementing her as a cultural force. Yet the magic fades once the illusion cracks. That's exactly why Greg's comedic punches matter. They aren't throwaway jokes. They are reality checks wrapped in humor. They remind everyone that fiery slogans don't solve problems, Instagram followers don't pass laws, and emotional speeches don't pay the bills. And maybe, just maybe, they remind AOC that being a social media superstar doesn't automatically make her a heavyweight in Congress.
Says AOC has 61% approval rating for Democrats, right? The highest of any Democrat unless they've been elected president. So if your new brand ambassador is going to be AOC, then I think it's more than just the messaging and the brand.
AOC, among others, were arrested last night. She truly is an American hero. It was brutal, taken out in cuffs. Well, technically, her shirt had cuffs. Maybe French cuffs, as she did surrender.
And here's the twist. AOC isn't slowing down. Without the drama, the flair, and the non-stop live streams, she wouldn't be the AOC the internet can't get enough of. And that's exactly why Greg will never let up. Without her theatrics, half of his best material disappears. It's the strangest political loop ever. She fuels him with content, he fuels her with attention, and the rest of us get front row seats to watch the chaos unfold. And don't be fooled. This saga is far from over. Every new proposal, every viral post, every fiery rant is fresh fuel for Greg to turn into comedy gold. If you thought this round was brutal, buckle up. If AOC is the influencer of politics, Greg Gutfeld is the professional heckler who never leaves the stage. In this endless Washington comedy club, the MIC stays hot, the punchlines stay sharp, and the exposure never stops.